Hello and welcome to Bo Beats and this episode of The Perfect Home Studio. It's a series about creating a home studio, wiring everything up, and then changing it up again and again and redoing stuff. And I'm rocking some Native Instruments swag today. Pretty cool. In today's episode we're checking out some new cool stuff as well as doing some mini reviews. So let's get to it. So as you can see, my studio is divided into 3 or rather 4 separate areas. The video editing rig, the hardware synth rig you're looking at right now, 90-degree angle video rig, and my streaming setup. And I'll do a video separately about the streaming setup. So let's talk about the software station that I got here. I used it for video editing, I used it for mixing, mastering. I run Cubase on it, I run Machina, I run Bitwig and Logic. Now of course I don't really use Bitwig and Logic that much at the moment, I'm more a Cubase guy. On the table here we have my pretty much biggest investment ever. It's the 27-inch current generation iMac. It's not the Pro version, I couldn't really go that far. Why did I get it? Well, you can pick, you know, I'm an Apple fanboy and a couple of different reasons which had to do with me not wanting to rely on a Hackintosh, and I run Final Cut Pro and I wanted something stationary. I didn't really want to rely on a laptop. It has the faster CPU, it has the 1TB SSD, and people have been asking me like how good is it for music production, and I would say it's really powerful for music production, but I don't really see a reason to get such an expensive computer for music production in general. It's more for video editing. Over here I have some stuff which people have been asking about. This is the LaCie Too Big. It's their Thunderbolt drive. I got 2 drives in it, so I use 12 terabytes divided by 2 because they are mirrored. So if one fails, the other one is still intact. And I got the Seagate drive here, 4 terabytes, as well as 1 terabyte LaCie Rugged. And yes, I have a GoPro. Do I recommend it? No, it's quite expensive, the image quality is quite poor, and unless you're going skiboarding with your synths, it's probably not the best buy. I'd rather spend the money on a good smartphone or a DSLR camera. In any studio, whether it's professional or home studio, you need a decent pair of speakers. I'm rocking the Adam A5X. It's the smaller ones. I think the more standard ones are the A7X, but these are very solid speakers. I got a review up on the channel, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description. And here under the desk we find the sub. It's the Sub 8. It's matched to work perfectly with the Adam A5Xs. So here's a couple of things to think about if you're considering adding a subwoofer to your system. Firstly, get a pair of studio monitors that have a matched sub. That way you know that the subwoofer is meant to be used with the system. Secondly, a subwoofer isn't meant to give you louder bass. Now, of course, you can crank up the volume here on the sub a lot and you can get a really boomy big sound. That's not the point. You don't want to overpower the mids and the highs using the sub. And point number 3, the Sub 8 has a really cool feature, which is a high pass. This means that the sub will take care of the sub frequencies 85 and down, and the monitors will take care of everything above. And this adds a lot of clarity to the sound because, of course, a smaller pair of studio monitors aren't ideal for reproducing low frequencies like 85 and down. So the sub does what it does best, and the monitors can, be used for the mids and the highs and some of the bass as well. So I think that's really nice. I can definitely hear a difference when I switch the filter on and off. So overall, super pleased with the Sub 8, super pleased with the Atom A5Xs, and if you want to check out my review on these, I'll leave a link in the description. For recording audio in this rig, I'm actually using the Audio Fuse from Arturia. I've had it for a while, I got a review on it as well on my channel, and it's been holding up really well. I think the quality is excellent and the sound is really good. I'm also using this, the Rode NT2A mic. It's kind of a standard mic. I've been using it for a while. I also used a warm audio preamp before, but I've sort of taken that out of the signal chain because the sound is definitely good enough on the Audio Fuse. And one very common question that I get here on the channel is, what studio desk do I use? So here it is. So this desk here that I'm using for a couple of years is the Saor Yesk desk. I think it's a really nice desk. I think it's a good kind of balance between cost and design as well as build quality. So it's not too expensive, but it's not one of those super cheap kind of flimsy desks that you can find much cheaper. And one thing I really like with this desk is that it's quite compact. The surface area isn't that wide, so I can actually reach the matrix brute back there. I know some of you had some questions about that. And over there is my second rack furniture. It's the Saor Misa rack. I think there's 2 sizes. This is the smaller one. So with this desk I've tried many different setups. I had a computer over here from the start, but I've actually moved it to my height adjustable table instead. And now I'm just using this for my hardware synths. At the moment the matrix brute is on top here, and I'm using this surface to put whatever I'm working with currently on here. And beneath here I have my little Electron shelf. These units down here on the shelf are actually connected directly to the patch bay. So in the Saor Misa rack I have my Clarity 8 Pre. It's a Thunderbolt audio interface. I usually call it sound cards. I know I'm a bit old school that way. And there's the ADAT expansion from Behringer. It's pretty good. It does pick up a bit of noise from the electricity in the house. I think that if I had a Focusrite expansion, ADAT expansion, something like the Octoprix, I wouldn't have that problem. But for the money, you can't really argue with it. It's a good deal. And then I have another patch bay, and then I have my Soundcraft EPM mixer. I honestly don't use it that much. It doesn't get a lot of use because I have 16 channels directly into the Mac. So basically everything I hook up here and on the other desk here goes into the patch bays, and the patch base goes into the sound cards and ADAT expansion, and it goes into the computer. Next up, let's take a look at the synthesizers. lastly, here's the 90-degree angle rig. So for this rig I'm using a Glide Gear 90-degree angle stand, and you can attach a DSLR or a smartphone or maybe a GoPro on top of it just to get that nice 90-degree angle look. Let me know about your home studio progress in the comment section down below. What are you struggling with? What are you working on? How is it developing? What kind of troubles are you having? It's interesting to read about, and I'm sure we can have a nice little discussion down in the comment section. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button. You should consider subscribing. And if you want to support the work I do here on YouTube, feel free to head over to patreon.com/bowbeats. So guys, thank you so much and have a pleasant day.